Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Full Retard. Today we have some more Am I the A-Hole questions. First up is by Nail Lucky. Am I the a-hole for buying my son a car but not my daughter? So I have two kids, 20 male and 18 female. My son is a football player at Division I public school. My daughter just graduated. She will be going to the same school. I'm pretty well off and could have paid for my son's education, but everything is covered from football. I give him some extra spending money, but I also bought him a brand new car and pay to insure it. Well, technically the car is mine because it's easier, cheaper that way, but I consider it his. My daughter won't be getting financial aid. She didn't play sport, and for anyone thinking otherwise, by law, there are as many athletic scholarships for men as women, so she had an equal opportunity as him. She didn't do well enough in school to get merit-based aid, and I make too much for her to get need-based aid, so I will be paying for her education. I will cover as much as my son's football scholarship does, everything education-related, room and board, and a small stipend for personal expenses, but I won't give her the extra money. Nor will I buy her a car. My reasoning is because my son worked extremely hard in high school. Playing football with all the practices, lifting weights, etc. is a lot of work. And he worked harder than most of his peers. He also got good grades. And college football is basically an extremely physical, exhausting, full-time job, maybe more. There is barely enough time for actual school, but my son still manages to get good grades. No way does he have time to get a job and buy a car himself. My daughter, on the other hand, basically just coasted through high school, didn't spend much time on extracurriculars. She put just enough effort, almost none, as she is very smart, required to automatically get into the state public university. So I think that if my daughter wants a car and extra spending money, she can get a job. She could easily get a part-time job that would cover a car and still have much more free time than my son does. If she saves enough for a down payment, I would even buy the car on the condition that she pays me for it and the insurance monthly. My daughter thinks I'm being incredibly unfair, that I favor my son because he's a man and an athlete. I think that she's a spoiled brat, and it would actually be unfair to my son to buy her a car on top of everything else I'm doing for her. Edit. I've decided to give my daughter an opportunity to earn the car by getting good grades freshman year. If she gets, say, a 3.5, I will give her the car of her choice, or a similar price to her brothers, pay to insure it, and give her extra spending money. Wow. You're not just an a-hole. I mean, you are the a-hole of a-holes. It definitely seems like you're doing more for your son because he's an athlete, and because your daughter didn't live up to what you thought she should be. She doesn't deserve your help. Yeah, you're an a-hole. Up next, we have a question from Queen Frostline. Am I the a-hole for telling my son's grandparents to stop teasing him? I apologize in advance for the format. I'm on mobile. My son's grandmother and I don't always see eye to eye, but we do a good job of putting that aside. My son, Jamie, age 9, spends a good deal of time with them, and rightly so. His father, their youngest son, died when our son was a baby. My son is close with his grandmother, Linda. His grandfather, Bob, has a tendency to tease and pick on him. Usually this comes in the form of mostly light-hearted hazing, oftentimes tickling, and sometimes it's intentionally antagonizing him. Jamie hates it so much that when I pick him up from spending the night, we're barely out of the driveway before Jamie starts crying over how much he can't stand Bob teasing him. Jamie is a very sensitive, anxious child. He is easily bothered by things that would seem inconsequential to me and you. His grandparents are very much the Southern, make America great again, suck it up snowflake type. Lately we've had some differences of opinion, in that they keep making racist comments, and I politely ask them not to speak like that in front of my son. Bob is vocal about his opinions on COVID, masking, and the protests. Some of that has made it back to me via Jamie. When I confront Linda about these things that are said, done, in front of Jamie, she lies. Jamie was treated for breathing problems last year, and Linda accompanied us to the appointment. The pediatrician asked Linda and me, does anyone smoke around Jamie? I don't smoke, but Linda does. Around Jamie? After I've asked her not to. Linda says, no, I don't smoke with him in the house. Jamie perks up and says, yes, you do. After the appointment, Linda berated him for disrespecting his elders. I took him to Dairy Queen for being truthful. Here's the situation. Jamie spent a weekend at his grandparents' house. I was told that Jamie was disciplined for being disrespectful. I asked what happened, and Jamie says, I told Paw Paw to stop picking on me. We've discussed how to establish boundaries and tell someone when you don't like the way you're being treated. What he described to me after the fact was almost exactly as we had gone over. When Linda and I went onto the porch, I spoke my mind without filter. And I told her, I have tried to teach Jamie how to establish boundaries with people when he doesn't like how they're treating him. I'm tired of picking Jamie up and him crying because Bob is teasing him. If he's telling you over and over again, stop that, then maybe Bob should dial it back a little bit. Bob was not home at this time, otherwise the comment would have been directed at him. 2 hours later, I arrive home to see a passive-aggressive Facebook post from Linda saying, I don't understand why nasty people have to yell at me for other people's actions. Maybe I ought to show my bad side. I sent her a message in private, apologizing if she thought I was yelling at her. She has not spoken to me since. Am I the a-hole for telling my son's grandparents to stop teasing him? Edit. I feel I should clarify that I am by no means forcing him to spend time with them. He loves his grandmother to pieces, but it's his grandfather he's fed up with. Well, on the post, it looks like they voted this person the a-hole, but I disagree. You're not the a-hole. I've been in a similar situation with my child, and when that happens, you just have to put those people out of your life and your child's life. It might upset your child a little bit to say, hey, you can't go see such and such anymore, but you have to do what is best for your child's mental health. So cut ties with these idiots before your child grows up to be a serial killer. Well, that's it for this episode. Thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to subscribe on Facebook and like this video. Subscribe to our podcast on your preferred platform. Visit our website, mentallydamaged.com. You can always email us at opinions@mentallydamaged.com. Leave us a comment on the video, like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter. You know the drill.